Okay, so this is week 4, day 1. We're going to go through the notes on this video, go through the handout that we passed out. So on the first page we got, which was page 4, we did a review in class. So I had students label each of these lines and without any notes and see if they could do that. And so you should do that now if you haven't yet, and then pause this and then do it and then come back. And so now I want to go through what these are called. So the first line is, of course, called the class header. It says to circle the name of the class. Then my pets will be the name of the class. The second line is the opening brace for the class, or the class opening brace. Line 3 is the main method header. Line 4 is the main method opening brace. This is a boundary line for the main method. Then line 5 is this print statement, and 6 is a main method closing brace. So these two are opening and closing of the main method, and then the last brace goes with this first brace. These operate as a pair, and so this is a class closing brace. Okay, so that's what we did. We also reviewed errors, being able to know what a syntax error was, and be able to know syntax and logic errors, and knowing whether if you capitalize or misspell special Java words like public, class, system, different things like that, then it's going to cause a syntax error. Missing colons, quotation marks, parentheses, dots, those are going to cause syntax errors. Missing or backwards curly braces are going to cause those kind of syntax errors. And then the errors within quotation marks are typically going to be logic errors. So those are errors that you don't catch until you've run the program. These other ones, these first ones, are caught by the compiler and don't allow you to run the program until they are fixed. So those are things that we've already been through. The next thing that we worked on was being able to read, getting used to reading error messages. So the next page is something that you should do, fill out this table. So here's what we do. What you do is you open up let's say first.java in the code and figures folder, and we're going to make an error here. So this says misspell or capitalize class. We just have to do one of them. So if you haven't opened up first.java from the code and figures folder, then that's what you should do at this time. And so here we are, and so we said in that sheet was to capitalize or misspell class. So let's say we capitalize class here, and then we run it through the compiler. Okay, so sometimes it's very important to understand that sometimes one error will cause multiple errors. The key thing here is to just take care of the one error, and a lot of times it will take care of the rest of your errors, or many of them. So we look at this and it says error. Okay, so what we want to do is it says class interface or enum expected. Now that's what you then would go back into your notes and write that. That's the main part of the message. It's the part that comes after the word error. Were there additional errors? Well, yes, there were 2 other errors that happened as a result of this one error. So we would say yes then. And then the error is the error above or on the same line. It actually could be below the indicated line by the compiler. So what you do is you look in here, and this says, right here says first.java, and then it says 1. This means the error is being focused on line 1. So, and was the error actually in line 1? Yes, it was. So it was actually in line 1. So what we would put here is we would put same. All right, so that's something that you need to do for the rest of this table and get used to reading errors and starting to learn what they mean. So then, the next thing. Okay, so another thing that you should be doing is you should be doing the debugging exercises. And if you have to do that at school, if you don't have that at home at this time, then you can always do that at school. But you would open up debug1.java. It's in the Debugging Exercises folder. You would change the class name to debug1fix. And then you would save it as debug1fix. So just to see how that looks is you would be in the Debugging Exercises. You would open up debug1. You would, up here, you would go type FIX with a capital F. You would go to File and Save As. And then if the file name does not show up, then it's whatever the class name is should be the file name. So you would type debug1 fix, and the capitalization has to be exactly the same. Everything has to be about the same as the class name up here, and then you would save it as that. All right, so that's one thing that you should work on. And basically in that, what you're doing is you are debugging it, trying to fix the errors. You compile it and debug it until there's no more errors, and then you run it. All right, so then let's take on the next thing. The next thing is in the notes is about literal strings. So literal strings refer to the characters that are written between double quotation marks, and we'll show that in a second. So it refers to characters that are written between double quotation marks. Characters inside those double quotation marks include things like letters and numbers. Spaces are considered characters. Punctuation marks are considered characters, and symbols. And so all the characters between the quotation marks will print or display on the screen exactly as they appear between the quotes. So if we look at the JGrasp and look at first.java, you'll see that we have a literal string on line 5. And that's because you have double quotes, and so the green in this case is referring to a literal string. All right, so you have, if you were to count the number of characters, you would count FIRST, space would count. All the letters and all the spaces would count. If you had a punctuation mark, that would count as well. So what's going to happen is all the characters within the double quotes, if you just copied that or froze it and took it out and then you went to the screen and pasted it there, that's exactly what it would look like. So it's like taking this and freezing it, pulling it out, and putting it on the screen. Just exactly like it looks. All right, so that's basically what a literal string is. We're going to use that term a lot. Okay, the next thing on your notes is dealing with semicolons. Semicolons are critical because if you don't have a semicolon where it belongs, you'll get a syntax error. Or if you put it where it shouldn't go, you will also get a syntax error. It goes at the end of program statements, statements that actually do something. For right now, the only thing that we have going on that does something specifically are print statements. Later on, we'll have things like declaring variables and all those kind of things. Those will need semicolons because they do something specific. So this goes at the end of a program statement. So print statements right now is all we have, and there's going to be more to come. They're not used after a class header or a main method header because those aren't specifically doing anything specific, but there'll be more like this later on. So if we look at JGrasp, we'll see that after this class header, there's no semicolon. After the main method, there's no semicolon. After the print statement, there is a semicolon. So that's how that works. And let's see what we have next. We have white space, which we'll deal with on the next video.